So it's easy to get overwhelmed in nursing school. And when I was taking the NCLEX, it was incredibly stressful. I had to fly to another state because I happened to be one of the lucky people that graduated during the pandemic. So let's talk about some strategies that helped me, and hopefully they'll help you. Welcome to CASRN, where I teach you about all things nursing. My nursing degree is actually my second bachelor's degree, so that's right, I have two bachelor's degrees. My first one is in community health education, and my second one is as a registered nurse. The backstory on what happened there is really long, so we'll save that one for another time. School has always been easy for me. I've always been able to get A's and B's without trying too hard. Even my bachelor's degree wasn't that bad. However, when I started nursing school, it was a monster. I was getting questions wrong that should have been simple. I had worked in the medical field for 10 years at this point. I was getting angry and I was getting frustrated. So let me share with you what I learned. Before the test, study well, obviously. You're never going to do well if you don't understand the material. The night before, make sure that you rest. Sleep well. Your brain can't function on little sleep. Do your best. Nutrition leading up to and during nursing school is really important. Think about all the things that we teach our patients and what they need to be doing. We as nurses should be implementing those same things. Eat well, healthy and nutritious food so that your body and your brain have the fuel that they need in order to perform well. Dress comfortable. Maybe try some civic disobedience. The testing process for nurses is very rigorous. In order to be able to be eligible to take the NCLEX, you've already proven a lot. You've had to get through that degree. You've had to do everything that your teachers have told you, do everything that the schools told you. You've been over backwards, had a lot of sleepless nights. We've been there. We get it. We understand. Dress in something comfortable when you get there. You're going to be there for a couple hours probably. You want to be comfortable and cozy. Don't dress up. You really don't need to be impressing anybody unless that's what makes you happy. I recommend a little bit of civil disobedience. It's kind of nice. Wear some mismatching socks, wear some holey jeans, wear some holey tennis shoes, wear your lucky sports bra, whatever it's going to take. Be comfortable. Do something that's going to make you laugh a little bit. It helps a lot alleviate the stress. Arrive early. This is going to reduce your stress significantly because you're there, you're ready, you're not going to miss your testing slot, no stress. During the test, one thing that helped me a lot was learning some relaxation techniques to use during the testing process. I started writing down the questions numbers on my scratch paper in fives, 5, 10, 15, 20. Every time I got to that question, I would stop, I would deep breathe in through the nose, out through the mouth a couple of times, and then maybe stretch and relax my muscles a little bit to give myself that physical stress relief. As I started getting better at taking tests, I started doing this into 10, 20, 30 rather than every 5 because I didn't feel like it was necessary. But it serves as a good reminder and also helps you gauge where you're at in the test so you can just cross it off that scratch paper and move on. Don't pay attention to other people. My program was actually online, so I took my tests at home on my computer. So that was interesting because I had to be watched by by a proctor through my computer, which was a little disconcerting initially, knowing that somebody's watching you through a webcam, but eventually worked out fine and I didn't have any problems and got used to it. But if you're taking it in a classroom or in a testing center, don't pay attention to other people. Focus on what you've got going on because you have your designated space of time. Don't focus on what other people around you are doing. Use your test-taking skills that you've learned, such as dissecting the question, remember your prioritization, your nursing process, searching for the wrong answers and knowing why they're wrong rather than searching for the right answer. Read all of the questions, answer it, and then reread it. One of the problems that I found I was having is that I wasn't fully understanding what the question was asking. And so as I would go through and I'd answer the question, I'd always reread it to make sure that I understood what it was asking, as well as writing it down on my scratch paper, what I thought it was asking, to help my brain focus on that a little bit better. And a huge key is to not read more into the question than what you think is there. It's very easy to be like, well, what if? The question did not give you the what if. Just answer it based off of what you have. Plan on taking all of the questions. Now, we know that the NCLEX is a smart test. It's one of those things where you can get anywhere from 75 to 100 and something questions. Plan on getting all of them. Just know it. What I did when I went in to take the NCLEX was I knew I was just going to get the full amount of questions. I went in prepared for that. As I was clicking through my questions, I was spacing my time, I was going through it, and all of a sudden I clicked and the computer turned off. And I was very stressed out. I thought the computer had broken. I had flown into another state because it was taking so long for the NCLEX to be taken in the state where I'm from. I'd flown to another state that morning to be able to take this test. I was all sorts of freaked out. Could not for the life of me figure out what was going on. Well, come to find out, I took the minimum number of questions and I had passed the test and it had turned itself off. Make sure that you pace yourself. Slow down. This is really important. It's easy to go fast. It's easy to not read the question the whole way, and it's easy to want to rush through this just to get through it. We want to be done with this stressful experience. The reality is, this is the culmination of your nursing degree. This is the last thing that you have to do. This is a marathon. This is not a race. Slow down. Make sure that you just take one question at a time. Forget the questions before. Those don't matter anymore. They're not relevant to what's going on. Focus on this one specific question. Do your best to get through it, and then forget it and move on to the next question. One thing that was also really helpful for me was doing a brain dump. Now, people had told me that you can't do a brain dump in the NCLEX, but they do let you take in a scratch paper, and honestly, nobody was really close to me while I was doing this. So I wrote down a few things that were helpful for me because in the middle of the test, it's hard to remember what number potassium's supposed to be at and what number magnesium's supposed to be and calcium and the labs, and oh my goodness, there's so much information that you need to remember. So having this little cheat sheet, that wasn't really a cheat sheet because it had all been in my brain, I wrote it down. So then in the middle of the test, when my brain was starting to feel the stress and I was starting to get tired and I'd been in there for a while, I could look at this little cheat sheet and it was a stress alleviating moment. Whether or not they let you do in the NCLEX, I'd heard that. Nobody said anything to me when I did it. So take that with a grain of salt, but you can for sure do it in nursing school. Use it for those tests when you need to know those numbers. It's very nice on your scratch paper before you start to just go through and write down a bunch of stuff that you know that you need to remember. And it might be something just as simple as writing down the nursing process. Make sure you write down assessment, because sometimes the answer to the question is making sure you just do your assessment. And so you can just stop in that middle of freaking out, in that middle of all that high level stress, and your brain's not remembering the things that you're supposed to be doing, and just be like, oh yeah, assess. Then take a deep breath and go back to your question. Now, after you're done, treat yourself. You've done something really hard. Nursing school tests are unlike any test you'll ever take in your life. Treat yourself in some way or another, whatever that looks like to you. Celebrate your hard work. You've done something really hard, and to get to the level of taking the NCLEX, you've already accomplished a lot. And then, my personal favorite, take a nap. Now, the results for your test are scored twice, once by the computer in the testing center and once again by Pearson VUE. Then those results are sent to the nursing board, to your regulating body, wherever state you applied. And that can take up to 6 weeks. Fortunately, my state, so fast at getting it back, I had my test back in less than 24 hours. I had it back the next morning. Thank goodness. That was so nice. So before I flew home, I knew I had passed. So I was free sailing. It was so great. Don't call. They're not going to give you the results over the phone. So I'm sorry. Here's just another part of that marathon of getting through nursing school. But take a deep breath. You've got this. Here's to hoping that you can pass with Cass. Thanks for tuning in. Please help me grow my channel by clicking subscribe and follow below.